welcome to the Discourse Dive. I'm your host, Christina Nikitas. Today I have an adventure planned for us in chatting with our local friend, a mountaineer. But before we dive in, please allow me to thank everyone here at Burlington, Mass. Cable Access TV, otherwise known as BCAT, who keep the BCAT universe on its axis. Thank you to the staff members, the director Jen Dodge, Chris Flaherty, Robert Paris, Tad Stefanak, and Veris Connolly. On deck tonight is Chris Flaherty to make sure everything runs smoothly for us today. Thank you so much, Chris. And thank you to our volunteer crew members who kindly found time in their very busy schedules to bring this show to you at home. So on deck we have James Hurley, Chris Rose, Aaron Kerr, Susan Linder. Thank you so very much to everyone. Also, just a reminder, feel free to message me anytime at dive@bcattv.org. That's D-I-V-E at bcattv.org. You're always welcome to reach out with any comments or any questions, or even if you have questions for my guest. Be glad to respond to those. So I wanted to invite you to visit the BCAT website. That's www.bcattv.org, which offers an amazing catalog of public educational and governmental program. It'll inspire you and keep you informed and entertained throughout your day. Have a look. So back to today's adventure. It's time we get settled and grab for your coffee or tea. We're about to chat with our local resident, whose story is truly inspiring. So our guest today is Mumtaz Mesania, an engineer, computer scientist, and mountaineer. Mumtaz was born in Brazil to parents who immigrated from northwest India. Growing up, she was both a gifted artist and a strong athlete, excelling as a swimmer and a runner. She studied civil engineering for the requisite lengthy 6 years, and when her interest shifted, she made the bold decision to relocate to the United States to pursue a degree in computer science, a move that launched her into roles of top-tier national corporations. Later on, when she encountered a stressful period in her life, Mumtaz stepped out of her comfort zone by accepting an invitation from a friend to go hiking in Washington State, a completely new experience for her. She quickly became hooked and hiking the Cascades, summiting Mount Adams, followed by Mount Baker, the highest peak at around 10,000 or so feet. Then came Mount Rainier at around 14,000 or so feet, an experience that launched her into an entirely different realm, mountaineering. From that moment on, it became central in igniting her passion for setting goals, conquering her own personal bests. Now encroaching on the 5th decade of her life, a few months ago, she qualified to run the Boston Marathon. But in less than 2 weeks from today, she will be on another expedition in Patagonia. So let's pick up more of Mumtaz's story from here. It's my pleasure to introduce you to my guest, our neighbor mountaineer, Mumtaz Mesania. Welcome, Mumtaz. Thank you so much for coming by to visit us.
Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. We're honored to have you. Let me tell you.
Thank you.
It really is a true honor. So you found yourself working in Washington State. Mm-hmm. A friend invited you to go hiking.
Yes.
And things changed.
Yes, and honestly, when she invited me, she said that nature helped her go through a difficult time. And she said that, why don't I try it? And my first thought is, great, I'm just gonna walk in the woods, see a bunch of trees. That was my first thought. And as we climbed and we hiked, and there was this beautiful clear day, and you could see Mount Rainier, a majestic 14,410 feet. And I thought myself, why can't I climb that? How would it feel to climb such a beautiful mountain? And after that, I started inquiring, what does it take to climb a mountain? I didn't know. I was not aware of what kind of skills I needed, what kind of knowledge, what kind of training. you needed to do. And thankfully, Seattle is known for having a lot of mountaineers, so there is a big present community and schooling as well, where you can take classes or learn more about it.
Okay, fascinating. Yeah. So I wanted to ask you, so when you were during your hiking period, Mount Adams and Mount Baker at 10,000 feet, what was there any kind of spiritual awakening with this, you know, majestic beauty all around you?
Yeah.
Or
I think so. So for me, I see the mountains as having their own charisma, their own soul, and it's amazing how well you feel when you're in nature. I just took the adrenaline that I had craved since I was young, being a swimmer, to that next level, which for me was mountaineering, where I could push my limits, where I could push myself mentally and physically.
So in terms of the steps into mountaineering, you really need to get down the hiking piece first, right?
Yes, absolutely. So I do not recommend to just go and climb a mountain. I highly recommend, if you are already an active person, to start hiking. Extend the hike maybe from 1 hour to 2 hours. Try hiking trails that have boulders, higher elevation, which really gets you out of your comfort zone. Are you comfortable with that? If that's the case, try backpacking. How do you feel walking with a heavy backpack for days, not having access to a bathroom or a shower? If you still find it enjoyable, then I will highly recommend taking classes. And the reason I think it's important to take class is mountaineering can be dangerous. And the more you know how to deal with the danger, the more safe and confident you are. And it can also help whoever is on the expedition with you. So I highly recommend taking classes, and for sure you have to train. If you are not physical fit, the chances of you being able to enjoy your journey is going to be less.
Okay. So I'm wanting to bring up some photos here of the Cascades, which are incredibly beautiful and majestic. Do we have our first photo?
Yes.
I think is that near Snow?
That's called Snow Lake. That's near Seattle. Yeah, and if I'm not climbing mountains, I try to hike as much as I can to keep me active. And as you can see, this is a good example of a trail that you would do to test your skills. It's boulders. All the way up is just a bunch of loose rocks, boulders. So that's where you can see how do you manage climbing for hours until you are on the top. How do you feel about dealing with terrains like that, right? But I love doing that on the weekends when I could. It was a good way of keeping myself fit and still enjoy nature.
Wonderful. I wonder if we could bring up the next Cascade one, which shows some of the boulders.
Yes.
Yeah,
and that's why I say you have to be aware of your fitness. I would not recommend this hike for somebody who is not used to it. As you can see, some of the rocks were loose. As if you step on it, they can fall and so forth. So this is a hike that I did with a colleague, but she's very good in hiking. She has a lot of experience.
This is so different from our experience hiking in New England. I mean,
yes.
This is completely different. It's foreign. It's so rugged and frightening to look at that.
It can be scary.
You have to be extremely agile. And
you have to be extremely careful too. And that's the other part is, as you start training for it, you become aware of how far can you push your body. Everybody has limits, right? Can you continue walking, or this is your body telling you to stop and go down the mountain, or take care of yourself. The last thing you want is to push so much that you ended up having an injury or worse, right?
Right. So in the Cascades, are some of these hikes more than a day long, or are these?
It can be. So this one in Snow Lake was a 2-day.
It was a 2-day.
It was almost like a backpacking trip. Yes.
Okay. So can we see the wildlife cascade photo?
Yes.
This is
the inspiration. I have seen quite a few beautiful mountain goats in the Cascades. They are known for being from that region. And this is where this little fella came to life.
I love this little, you made him, right?
I made him, and this was my mascot. So every hike or expedition I take him, because the mountain goats, as you saw in the photo, they're very strong and very agile climbers. They're extremely strong, and I just felt inspired that if I'm climbing, maybe I can be a mountain goat, my spirit animal.
Your spirit animal is, and this little fella has a name, Pashtu.
Yes, he's Pashtu. And the reason is I was watching also a documentary by National Geographic about the mountains. And around the Pakistan area where they have the Himalayan mountains.
Oh, okay.
And when one of the shots was this beautiful white strong mountain goat just jumping from one cliff to another, and it just made me feel a stronger urge to learn to be a mountaineer. Maybe in my mind I am as flexible and as strong as a mountain goat.
Oh, that is so wonderful. I love that. I love that. So we have an idea about the Cascades, and so let's shift to Mount Rainier. And you told us a little bit the inspiration around that, sort of a challenge, right? What was that experience like? That was your first mountaineering experience.
Yes.
What happened? Were there any, eureka moments or any? What was going on?
So when I actually signed up to climb, I got the permits and I got the guide to do the climb, I realized I needed help. I do want to climb, but I want to come back in one piece, right?
Yeah.
I would like to explore the mountains. So that's when I started taking classes, because I didn't know how to walk on snow. Remember, I'm from Brazil.
Right.
I'm not familiar with snow or ice. I didn't know how to use the equipment.
Right.
I didn't know how to do with avalanche if that happens. All of those things that can make a big difference when you're climbing. I was athletic, but I didn't know, is that enough to climb a mountain? So not only I took classes to learn how to use the equipment, to learn how to self-rescue, knowledge about avalanche. I also hired a personal trainer to help me, and he also was a teacher who taught, and also a guide, mountaineer guide. So he knew specifically what kind of workout I needed to do in order to achieve my goal of climbing Mount Rainier.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So how long of a climb is that?
So the Mount Rainier was a 2-day. At least the one that I signed up. So you walk until base camp, which is called Camp Muir. Camp Muir, you literally sleep for a few hours, and the push to the summit was around 1 a.m. And the reason the push to the summit is usually at night or very early in the morning is because the ice is firmer. Once the sun goes out, it starts to melt and the ice can shift, so it's safer to achieve the summit before it gets too hot.
Interesting. So let's see, that led you to Patagonia. You were back in Brazil. If we bring up the map for Patagonia, it will help us all orient ourselves to see exactly where we are.
So as you can see, Patagonia is the southernmost tip of South America, which mainly covers Chile and Argentina. And through Patagonia, you have the Andes Mountains, which goes all the way from Venezuela, all the way to the bottom where you see Terra del Fogo.
It's from Venezuela. That is shocking to me.
And Patagonia actually have, I think it's 559 miles of the Andes in the Patagonia region among Chile and Argentina. So that shows you how many mountains in Patagonia you have. So you have for all skill levels. You can have very technical, not so technical if you want skiing, snowboarding, if you want just trekking. So there is a good variety of outdoor activities that you can do at Patagonia.
Okay. So if we bring up the map once again, I just wanted to show, there's a detail in the upper right hand corner with a little red box, so you can actually see the area that we're talking about. So on Mumtaz's expedition coming up in a couple of weeks, she'll be in sort of the center of that box. And you have other plans. If things go well in that area,
Yes.
you will go south?
Yes, that is correct, yes.
And what will you see? Where in the south will you go?
I haven't decided yet. I think it depends on how the weather goes. Unfortunately, the climate has been a bit unstable for the past few years. So the good season to climb sometimes is not the same each year. So I like to play, now that I have the time, I like to play by ear and see if the conditions are right, then I'll go and climb.
Okay.
Yeah.
So typically you don't climb during the winter.
No, that is correct. So it's usually in the summertime. Right now is, I believe it's spring, is the opposite of here. Right. So now we are getting to summertime. It's fall. So it's getting to the winter time. So it's safer to climb in the summer, spring, or fall. Winter time, usually I don't do it. It's more dangerous, given the temperatures being too low or avalanche risk.
Avalanches, yeah.
Yes.
So you have to have avalanche training even for the summer?
Yes, that is correct.
Oh, you do? Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Some mountains, depending on their altitude, they have permanent snow or ice.
Okay. So, all of your five senses are alive when you're climbing. Can you take us there just right now as if you were climbing? What are you hearing? What are you feeling? What's happening? You're grappling with so many different things at once. You're all roped together, right?
Yes, that is correct.
So
usually, yes.
Take us through as if you're climbing right now. What do you...
So let's assume it's a technical climb and I'm roped with the guide or whoever's leading the expedition. So a couple of things I do is I always try to pay attention to the noises around me. You can hear the ice shift. Sometimes if it's too crunchy, those are all little things that I like to pay attention to see if maybe I can hear water. That means that the ice is thin and maybe water running underneath. So yes, I have the guide, but you as a person has to be responsible too. The guide is not there to hold your hand all the time. The guide is assuming you already have the basic knowledge. So I always pay attention. Sometimes I can hear the wind, which I think is great. You can hear a little bit if you're walking a glacier, the cracking, the soft cracking of the glacier.
Really?
Especially when the sun starts to come up, you can hear them crackling because they're shifting. But the one thing I love is how quiet it is. Away from all this noise, you hear the neighbors, you hear cars, TV, all of that, and I think it stimulates too much ourselves, and we forget how hearing nothing, how healing that is, right? I think it's, every time I come back from expedition, physically I'm exhausted, but mentally I'm so at ease, I'm so calm.
Really? I know a tiny bit of that feeling from skiing, being at a mountaintop, and that incredible piece of just literally hearing the snow fall, and there's no one around but you and nature and the heavens. It's a wonderful experience. I can only imagine what that is like. But there's a lot of other mental stuff going on, right?
Absolutely.
Because you're having trouble breathing as you're climbing at those altitudes. So how do you keep all of these things going? I mean, you are really stressed to the max, aren't you?
You are, and that's when, it's not just being physically strong, you have to be mentally strong. One thing that I did a lot, so Rainier was 14,410 feet, and I could feel that it was hard to breathe towards the top, but I really wanted to see what it is to go above that. How does it feel to go 20,000 feet? And for that, what I did is I worked very hard on my mind as well. Because think of yourself as, let's assume that you're in a pool, right? And if you don't know how to swim, the odds are, even though the pool may not be deep, you're going to be stressed, you may panic, you're going to burn all that energy, right? And you may actually hurt yourself, even though it's not deep. The same thing with mountaineering. So I really work very hard on my mind, because your body's going to be tired. You're going to feel it's not something that you do that is comfortable. Your feet's going to be tired. You may be cold. You may have frozen fingers, and you still have to use the equipment, right? You may see the summit is like 3 hours away or 4. You may see a storm coming. So working not only the physical but the mind to know when is your limit. Maybe you have to stop because that's as far as you can go for your safety and the team safety, or whoever's roped with you. Or it's just your mind playing tricks, right? When you run marathons, your mind is like, hell no, I'm not gonna run 26 miles. Who does that, right? But you tell yourself when your body gets tired, when your knee starts to bother you, your mind starts telling you, this is not right. So it's a lot of mind game that you have to do with yourself. And at the same time, you have to be alert. If there's rock falling, can happen, right? And the ice falling. So all of that plays a role. So I think more than anything, having a strong mind is very important.
So the mental resilience, is there anything, do you meditate at all, like when you're not climbing?
Yes,
to
absolutely.
To bring this mental capability?
I do. I try to meditate usually in the morning. If I can't, I try at night. It's a way of calming my mind to focus on what is happening to my body, right? Sometimes we're so busy working, taking care of the family, right? Running errands that you don't realize that sometimes you need to just stop, take a deep breath and continue. So I do a lot of meditation. I also do a lot of breathing exercises to help me with lack of oxygen when there's the need. So I do that a lot too.
I know there's so much going on that you need to keep track of when you're climbing, but are there ever moments that you go into like a mini second of a meditational type of thing to sort of...
So when I'm active walking or climbing, no. But when I am at the tent, when it's fairly safe, sometimes you can get stuck at the tent because the weather is bad. So instead of staying a few hours, you have to stay a few days, and that has happened. So then goes the mental side, because you're bored. You're like, I could be home in a nice warm bed, nice hot shower. Here I am on this freezing cold weather. And I try to, I draw. I take my drawing book with me if I can. Yeah, if I can, I draw. And most of the time I do meditation because it helps me focus on my goal, which is summit safely and come back home safely.
Right.
So it's not just, for me, it's not just reaching the top, it's being able to do so safely without injuring or hurting myself, and be able to get home in one piece.
Right. So in your previous expeditions, you've gone with a team of how many people each time?
It depends on the person, but I like a smaller team. So it was just me and another person and the guide.
Oh, just three of you. Okay. And you've chosen it that way for...
I like that way because I feel like the more people, the more variables that are out of control. So I think it's harder to manage, and the mountains that I choose, given the difficulty, I think it's safer. For my point of view, it's safer. For my comfort zone, it's better to have a smaller group.
Right. I can't imagine going with, you see these photographs of Everest trekkers, and it's an enormous group. And how does that group rely on one another? One false move with one person could mean extreme danger.
Yes.
I can't imagine how.
But when the group is big like that, they have multiple guides.
Multiple guides?
Yes.
Okay.
So if it is a big group, so Mount Rainier was a bigger group, and they had multiple guides because it was about 6 people on that group.
Multiple guides for 6 people?
Because what if, for example, you're not feeling well, and that's your limit? Then a guide has to walk you down to the base camp. You cannot just go yourself, it's not safe.
Right.
So a guide is somebody's responsible for you to reach the base camp safely so you can be treated or whatever is the case.
Have you ever seen any helicopter rescues? Or
yes, Mount Rainier.
What?
Yes. Mount Rainier, I saw a helicopter rescue, and that's the mental part, right? You see that somebody was so ill they had to be rescued by a helicopter, and here you are thinking, in a couple of hours I'm going to try to push for the summit, and your mind can play games on you. It's like the mind wants to preserve you, right? The mind is telling you that person is sick and well and had to be rescued. Let's just stay here on this tent. Let's not do anything. And that's where the mental part comes in, because you're going to see that.
Yeah. So when you're roped together, your next expedition, will it just be 3 people again, or?
No, just me and the guide.
Oh, just the 2 of you? Wow. So will be the first time.
Yes, that is correct.
So I'm curious about the roping. Is it maybe we can show the one of the summit photos, please? So it looks like you have a harness.
Yeah, so here I removed the rope, but I'm not far. So as you can see, the orange thing around my waist is the harness where we have carabiners and we attach the ropes.
With carabiners?
Yes.
Okay, got it. Okay. Yeah. And while we have this photo up, some of the mountains that we see behind, you've actually trained.
Yes.
Before you summited here, you climbed the 2 mountains in the background.
Yeah, that is correct.
So the previous picture, we'll see the 2.
So I think again, I like to go back to running because Boston is well known for the big running community. So imagine yourself if you're going to run a full marathon, 26.2 miles. You're not going to go the day before and run the whole thing. Right? You're going to train. You're going to do maybe 3 miles, 7, 10, half marathon, and so forth. The same applies for the mountain. So actually, this mountain wasn't the ultimate goal. It was another one. So we had to climb 2 previous mountains. They were roughly 6,500 feet, both of those mountains. This one, it was close to 8,701 feet. So it was a way to get your body ready to that lack of oxygen, get your body warmed, your body and your mind used to climbing using the tool, right? And then I did this one, and then the ultimate one was actually Cerro Plomo. That one took 4 days. It was 18,000 feet.
Oh my goodness!
So it's always in step. You would not do the Cerro Plomo right away because we need to get the body used to that lack of oxygen, especially because we are on sea level. Right. So for us, it's a little bit harder.
So you're doing a 6,000 climb and then an 8,000 climb, and then you went to 18,000.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So Mount Washington in New England is 6,000. So this is the comparison. It's just mind-boggling to think of this. It's just amazing. So in terms of the 18,000 footer, how many days did you say? 4 days?
Correct.
4 days.
And one day was actually because the weather was terrible.
Really?
So we literally just stayed in the tent and relaxed as much as we could.
Okay. So I remember learning about Everest. Maybe it was you when we were actually chatting, and you were saying an Everest climb is 3 months up and 24 hours or 48 hours down. I was like, how is that? That is just insane. I had no idea.
So the reason behind that is because the body has to acclimate to the lack of oxygen. So you cannot go straight, right? Because physiology is not going to, you can't do that. It's dangerous to your health. So you're doing slow steps, like Aconcagua, which is in Argentina, close to Patagonia, which is part of Patagonia, sorry. That takes 15 to 16 days. And that one, I think, is 21,000 feet, if I'm not mistaken. And why does it take 15 to 16 days? Because you have to slowly go up. You cannot go straight. And then to come down, I think it's less than a day to come down from the summit to the bottom.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Did you do a Concagua?
Not yet. It's on my list.
Not yet. Okay. Yeah. Oh my goodness. So fascinating. So I was going to ask you about these groups. In fact, I was reading an article before we came here today. It was a group of women mountaineers, and they're talking about trying to get a group together that is over communicative, and how helpful that is to make sure that you're always communicating and that type of thing. I know this is a little different from your experience, but can you relate it all to?
Yeah. When you mean by communication, is it communication among them or with the mountaineering community?
With the team. Yeah.
Yes,
these women
definitely.
were talking about you need to be communicating with the whole group all the time.
Yes.
And it was like, okay.
And the reason behind that is because you can affect the whole team. Remember, you rope together. You're all staying on base camps. So the reason is, let's assume that you're having a headache because of the altitude. Tell the guide. So he's aware of it. So as you're going up, he's going to check on you. Or if he forgets, you can tell, okay, this is beyond what I can handle. This headache is too much. I took my medication, whatever is the case. So the guide knows that, okay, here I cannot stop, but maybe in a couple of meters, feet is safe. Let's check on you, see how you're doing. Maybe take a break if you can. Take a break. Are you feeling any better? No. So it's easier rather than suddenly you're collapsing because your headache is so bad that you're fainting. Right? It's just a hypothetical situation. So you have to communicate, or I need to use the bathroom, my bladder is going to explode. Well, here you can't because there is a big ice fall right next to us, but we can do, you can relieve yourself at this point. Can you hold it? Yes, I can. It's not going to, I can hold for a little bit. So it's good to tell the guide, tell the person that you're roped to, because that is going to affect that person too. You all rope together.
Right.
So if
I'm sorry.
So if you feel unwell, it's going to affect whoever is with you, your guide, the other team members too.
I see. How many feet apart are you?
It depends.
It depends.
Yeah, it depends on how steep it is and or how dangerous it is. So sometimes it's very short, sometimes it's a little bit longer. So it really depends.
So let's say it's very, very steep. Does that mean it's a shorter?
Yes.
Shorter distance. So are we talking like 8 feet, or I know that's I don't know the meter, so I can't.
Yeah, I don't know
out there. But is it from, let's say?
So, for example, if it was very dangerous, you'd be maybe where you're sitting until that door.
Oh, okay. So maybe 8 feet or something.
Yeah. If it is something not that technical or dangerous, then it might be a little bit longer.
I see. Okay. So tell me about, when we're talking about women climbing, I just want people to realize how difficult it can be for women, because the altitude affects their menstruation and indigestion. I mean, all kinds of things are going on. The physiology of this is just frightening. To me, it's frightening.
Don't worry, it's frightening for me too.
So yeah, it's just it's such a stressor on the body. It's just amazing. I like when these women talked about this collapsible funnel, basically, that women can use to actually urinate standing up, which, because it's so cold, and it just makes everything super, super easy to just take care of things that way. So that was fascinating to me. And also you carry your own excrement in your backpack for as long as your expedition is.
Well, ideally, it's the whole idea, leave no trace behind. And the same applies if you're hiking on a trail. That's the idea. You should leave nature the way you found it, right? No toilet paper, no excrements. That's the whole idea. Some parks, they're very specific. Others say bury your excrement, for example. But when you're climbing, when it's snow and ice, usually you carry bag. Is it the highlight of your trip? No, but you want to make sure that whoever else is coming to climb the mountain can have an enjoyable climb, right? You don't want to see excrement that it may pollute the water. The water may be feeding rivers, they're feeding local cities or villages, so you don't want that to happen, which is an issue that is happening in Everest. The water that is coming from Everest with the glaciers melting, among the excrements, the trash, and unfortunately the dead bodies, it's polluting the village's water supply.
Really? Oh my goodness, I was unaware of that. What else do we have here? So it's fascinating to me that you're actually leaving a camp at 1 a.m. to hike in order to summit at 5 or 6 a.m. How do you prepare for that, and how does that go?
Well, you don't do mountaineering if you enjoy comfort.
Right.
It's definitely out of your comfort zone, I'm not gonna lie. I'm a light sleeper, so for me sleeping is hard. I think sometimes I'm able to sleep because I'm just sheerly exhausted. So I'm able to sleep, but it's not easy. It's not something that you do when you think of having a pleasant experience. For me it's pleasant because I get to experience the sunrise and the mountain, right? I can see above the clouds. For me that's a beautiful experience. But yes, and that's why I think backpacking is a good way to practice for that. It may not be as extreme, but are you able to continue day after day not being able to sleep? Or maybe it's a windy day, it's too noisy, right? You can't sleep. How comfortable do you feel doing that? For me, it's worth it because my goal is to witness the beauty of the mountain.
Right. So the guide has this all timed out.
Yeah.
For safety, so there seems to be a safety component in there as well. Yeah. Tell us.
So, for example, the guide that you hire or the company that you hire, hopefully they have enough experience to understand what are the physiology of the mountain, the areas that are more dangerous and so forth. And there's always a time, and the reason is that if you are not able to keep up with that time, you're not going to reach safely to the summit. It might be too late, the snow may be too soft, or the ice may be too hard to walk on, right, with the equipment. All those things that it can affect. And also, if you're too slow, you may slow down the rest of the team. So you're putting your team or whoever is with you in that group in jeopardy too. You're putting their safety at risk. So there's that too. So usually the guide says, like for Rainier, if you're not by Camp Muir by, I can't remember the time, by a certain time, the leader will turn you back. And as you climb Mount Rainier, there were areas that say, if we have to make it this time. If I see that we are not making, I have to turn you back to base camp.
Interesting. So I'm always curious, I mean, at the elevations that you're at, it's pretty much iced over and some rock and whatnot. How do you affix a tent on ice? How can you do that?
So we try to make it, if it is snow, we try to make it as flat as possible and put the tent on it. Usually on land we put rocks to secure, and we use bolts right on the sand, on the dirt, to secure the tent. We have boulders that we can screw in the ice. That's what we use for climbing sometimes as well. We use that, and we throw snow on top of it. So the bottom of your tent is literally, the surrounding of your tent is full of snow. So it's like a little snowy wall.
Oh.
Just to make sure that your tent doesn't go flying.
So did you say there's actual bolts that you...
You can, yes. Yeah, you can. It's like screws that you screw in the ice. Imagine rock climbing. They put screws, right, to continue secure the rope. The same thing, but it's for ice.
I see. Okay. So that brings me to one other question. Do you carry equipment for rock climbing too? If you don't really know what you're going to encounter?
You carry everything. Even avalanche rescue equipment I carry.
Oh my God.
You carry, and that's why sometimes the backpack is so heavy. The equipment, and I can show shortly some of the equipment, it's heavy. But they are heavy because they need to be able to go through the ice. So you don't want something that is too light. Like on this photo, you can see the ice axe that I have, right? So you can see how heavy the backpack is. Usually half of my weight that I'm carrying.
Half of your body weight? This is unbelievable.
It's usually because I have a small frame, so it feels heavier, but it is usually half my weight. There is safety equipment, food. Remember, you can't just go to Starbucks and grab a toast there. There is cooking equipment to cook. There's tent, the sleeping bag, extra layers. You never know how cold it's going to be. And I take my personal first aid. I have some allergy issues, so I have to make sure I'm prepared in case that happens.
And then, so the yellow thing on the right side is
that's insulation for my sleeping bag.
Oh, okay. I thought it might be just for comfort. So you see, you want a little bit of comfort.
It is. Well, otherwise you're gonna freeze.
Interesting. So tell us a little bit about nutrition. What do you bring up with you and for food?
So remember, the higher you go, the slower is your digestion.
Yeah.
So you have to keep that in mind. So you're not gonna take something that it takes too long, like meat, for example. It's a little bit harsh on the stomach for digestion, and you don't have the time to eat and get the calories in. So I usually take things that I can absorb fast, that I enjoy. Remember, if you don't like eating at your home, you're not gonna eat up in the mountain. You're just carrying that weight. So I take things that are easy to chew. I would not recommend taking Snickers bars because they're gonna be solid frozen. It's gonna break your teeth, for example. So since we are in Boston, you can practice things that are gonna freeze or not, or things that I enjoy eating. So I try to make my own granola.
Oh, you make your own?
Yeah, I make my own because I'm very specific about the things that I want to eat. I take a lot of gummy bears. I am a gummy bear fan.
Oh, cool.
It's easy calories, easy to digest, and I love it. I take some carbs, like sandwiches, if I can, peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Peanut butter and jelly?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes. I love that. Easy for me to eat. I enjoy it. But that can depend on the person too, right? So as you're playing, as you're training for backpacking, what do you eat? Is that peanut butter and jelly going to be too much for your stomach? Are you already nauseous because you have been eating that for 3 days? So it's good to practice what you enjoy eating, how much of it you need, right? You don't want to take too much, then you're carrying extra weight, which means more energy. You get exhausted faster.
So are you eating every few hours to keep your... Oh, okay.
Yes.
To keep your energy up.
Absolutely.
And is that recommended with the guides? I mean, every few hours you basically...
Usually, yes. There are sections that you can't stop, given the safety, but usually every hour or so, at least a sip of water. Usually I don't know if you can see on the photo, but I have a pouch on the front that straps to my my hips.
It was like
so that is something quickly that I can quickly just... I don't even have to stop. I can quickly grab and eat while we are walking, for example.
Okay. How do you carry your water? Is it like bikers do, that flat thing?
No, they freeze.
They freeze?
Yeah.
Of course, because they're biking on land. So what do you do
they freeze. So I use, I bought those bottles and I fill with water. And what I do is on the backpack, I put that water as close as I can to my body heat instead of on the outside, so they don't freeze.
Okay.
Yeah. So that the water will be when you're actually stopping, so you have time to remove the backpack and get the water out.
Okay. And I think when we chatted earlier, you were talking about you carry an EpiPen and you try and carry that as close to your body as possible.
Yeah. So I have, as I mentioned to you when we were talking, I have some serious food allergies.
Yeah.
And of course, it hasn't been studied how some of the medication works that high. So what I do is, because EpiPen is actually a liquid inside, right?
Yeah.
So I keep it on the base layer. That way my body, the heat of my body is going to keep it from turning to a solid frozen pan. So that's what I do. And for safety, I always give one to my guide in case I lose mine or something happens. He or she, whoever's the guide, has one.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Interesting. All right. So let's have a look at some of your equipment. Actually, well, we'll go back to that. Let's have a look.
So as you can see in the photo, so there are quite a few types of crampons. This is the one that I use, as you can see, so you have to be careful, and I just sharpen. All of those metal things are what you use to actually get a good grip on the ice. So as you're walking, you're not just stepping, you're literally slamming down your feet, so this will get into the ice to keep you from falling down. So what is the motion
of your foot when you're wearing those?
It depends. What is the angle of the climb? Sometimes you're walking sideways, so you get more surface on the ice. Sometimes if it is a wall of ice, you're literally just using this front part. So
that's the front?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is the front. Let me show you here.
Okay.
So this is my mountaineering boot. Okay. As you can see, the crampon goes here, and you use this to attach. So you strap it on.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. And so you're sometimes walking up like this?
Sometimes you're walking sideways. Sometimes you're walking, depending on if it is a wall of ice, you're just using the front part. Sometimes you're just walking normally as you do, like you and me walk to come here. So it really depends on the inclination, how high it is, so you decide how to use. And that's why having the basic information helps you feel more confident, right, when you're going up. And that's why I highly recommend taking classes, so you're familiar with how do I walk this? If the incline is for more than 50-degree angle, how do I do it, right?
I see.
And as you're walking, as you can see here, we also have the ice axe. Another metal thing, the height can change. There are 3 sizes, if I'm not mistaken. You measure based on your height. So this is the smaller size because I'm a smaller person. So as you can see, it's pretty sharp here. You would put, like with strength, you put that on the ice so that you have a grip. So it's another way of walking. And as you can see here, it's sharp too. So you put on the ice so you have something more stable. So you walk like this, so you can have your hand on, and it has some stability.
Okay.
And this is just a personal choice. I know a lot of mountaineers don't like it, but I like to attach to my harness.
All right, and there's another side here that's taped up a little bit?
Yeah, I just taped up, but this is what we usually use if you want to dig out. I haven't used much this, only when I needed to dig out to put my tent. Or when I want ice to make my tea or my food. So I use this side, and I can get a good chunk of ice.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe when you talked about your tea and whatnot, maybe we can bring up the photo, please, of the nutrition photo. I think it shows how you.
Yeah. So that ice, I use the back of this to get the ice. Yeah, and this is how I have my lovely evening tea.
Your evening tea.
Yes, and that's my favorite jet boil. The bottom is a canister of gas.
Okay.
And that's what I use to heat up the water. So usually you're not cooking an elaborate meal. It's anything that it's easy, it's not too heavy. And I use freeze-dried food.
Freeze-dried food.
So you just add hot water. Yeah.
Okay. It takes longer for the water to boil, right?
Yes, because of the altitude.
So how much longer?
I think it depends on the altitude. But I noticed that it was taking almost 2 minutes extra to cook.
A couple minutes
to boil
extra?
for my tea. Yes.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Fascinating. So you're a runner.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to separate your sports, because if you're going to do a marathon, then that whole year is geared to working certain muscle groups.
Absolutely.
And if you're doing the mountaineering thing, you need to just do a whole other set of muscle groups. So can you tell us what exercises and which muscle groups for both sports?
So both of them, the good thing is the running has to use good legs, right? Strong legs, strong glutes, and core, which is great. The difference is I focus a little bit less on the legs, and I start a lot of upper strength, because I need upper strength to be able to climb using this.
Right.
So I shift a little bit of the training to have more upper strength training, so I can handle that. And I do a lot of exercise for my back to handle my heavy backpack.
Okay. Interesting.
But the cardio works for both.
Interesting. Yeah. So I know the other day you were telling me you lifted your entire body weight with just 2 fingers.
Yeah.
You are Amazonian strength. Oh my gosh.
It's a matter of training. The first time I did, I thought I was gonna break some fingers, my hand, everything. I thought my shoulders were gonna fall apart. It's just a matter of training. You start slowly. I have been doing for almost 6 years. So the first time was very difficult. It's just like when you start running, everything hurts, it's uncomfortable. But slowly you build strength, your body gets stronger too.
Interesting. Were we able to show that crampon photo, I wonder? If we could bring the crampon photo.
Yeah, so here's a great example. You can see the crampon in the boots. And of course I have multiple layers there because it was cold. Right. But that shows the kind of terrain that you may have to deal with.
The rock formation is beautiful. It's so stunning.
Amazing, yeah. And it's, assuming you get a clear day, the views are astonishing.
This is Aconcagua? No, not Aconcagua. This is in Patagonia.
Yes.
One of the, yeah. I wouldn't expect to see rock. I would expect to see like completely snow covered, but.
Well, that's in the beginning of the climb. That was the first stop.
Oh, okay. So you're lower down.
But when I climbed Cerro Plomo, the base camp area was not supposed to be so much rock. It was supposed to have snow. So I think, unfortunately, we're seeing warmer days, so there's less snow or ice.
So we're actually able to see the climate change even on the mountaintops.
Absolutely.
Where they're usually snow covered and they're
Yes.
not. Yeah, that's troubling. Yeah. So let's see. Talk about the clinics and the classes that you've taken and that you want to take. What are some of those topics?
Yeah, so the basic ones that I took was pretty much just to get the bare minimum to climb Mountain Rainier.
Mm-hmm.
So I did avalanche rescue 1 and 2. I did basic usage of instrument. Map reading was another one that I did.
Map reading? Yeah,
so you have topo maps. How do you calculate distance, things like that, you know. What if you lose
You can't use your phone?
Yeah, no, not really. You mean sometimes, not really. So what if maybe you lose your compass? How would you tell where is north, east to get your bearings, just to get safety, things like that. I did first aid, wilderness first aid. What if you get lost hiking? It can happen. And you need to make a fire, or you know, you hurt yourself, you need just to, and you don't have the equipment, just to patch yourself up just so you get to safety. So I took those classes. And then after Mount Rainier, Then I started more specific classes about avalanche. So I was taking avalanche 3 classes as well.
Avalanche 3.
Yes, because I really wanted to go to higher altitude,
Mm-hmm.
which is Patagonia.
So what is some of the instruction that they give you for avalanche?
So you learn how to test the snow, looking at the angle, how to read the forecast, what does that mean, and how to look for that when you're actually on the when you're actually skiing or mountaineering or hiking, and how to use the equipment, because that equipment can save your whoever's with you, your partner, your colleague, or even the guide's life. But it's useless if you don't know how to use it.
What actually is avalanche equipment? What
So
is?
there is there's a shovel. There is a, I don't know the name in English, but a little alert thing that you can use. We all have with us when we go climbing. And then if you fall, there's an avalanche, you can figure out sort of where you are, the area, and you can use, there is a probe to try to see where you are, given that area. But that you have to practice enough so you're comfortable. So if when the adrenaline kicks in because your loved one or your friend is under the snow, you have to be fast.
Mm-hmm.
Because not only the injuries, but the main cause of death in avalanche is asphyxiation.
Right. Yeah. So self-rescue. When you say self-rescue, were there clinics on that, and what does
Absolutely.
that entail?
So I took a lot of that. So what is self-rescue? Let's assume you're walking and you fall into a crevasse, right? What would you do to get out of that crevasse? How would you get out? Or let's assume that we are roped together and you fall into the crevasse, but we are roped together. What do I have to do to get you back up without hurting myself or putting myself in risk? So there are all those, how to use the ice axe. When you're falling down, there are ways of safely getting yourself to stop from falling or rolling down. So all of that you learn on self-rescue.
Oh, interesting. Okay. We don't have a photo of it, but when you mentioned it, I was looking online about these crevices, and they seem to be enormous.
Yes.
I mean, the width is, a couple ladders width, and it goes on probably for a quarter mile.
And they can be very deep.
Yeah, extremely deep. So can you tell us about getting over a crevice?
So when I faced crevasse, there was a Mount Rainier, Mount Baker had some too. The guides had a ladder, a metal ladder that they were carrying me down, and then they secured as secure as they could on the ice so we could cross it. That's what they did. If the crevasse is small enough, we just try to jump if we can, depending on the terrain, but the ones in Mount Rainier, Mount Baker were kind of big. So a ladder was used to cross them.
So I was seeing online how they affix ladder after ladder together to get across.
Yeah, it's not stable, and I don't want to admit, but I honestly thought I was going to pee myself the first time I had to cross, because it was one ladder loosely tied with ropes to another ladder. So it was like 2 ladders turning into one. And as you go to the middle, you can feel it swinging, right?
No.
And I was just thinking to myself, don't look down, because I know I would panic. So I just looked at the guide. I just fixated at the guide just to keep that that focus, and I walked.
Oh my goodness.
I didn't take even photos of the crevasse because I'll be panicking.
Right. So that was one of my questions, is have you ever had a sense of fear? Would this account for one?
And I think fear is healthy, right? I think I'll be concerned if somebody said they don't fear it, because the fear is about, not to the point that you stop, but fear is what keeps you cautious, makes you cautious, right? You're more careful when you're crossing or when you're walking, or fear of, even when you're running, of hurting yourself, so you're more careful, right? You train a little bit more because you keep that in mind. So I think that having a little bit is okay. If it gets to the point that it paralyzes you, then it's not a healthy fear.
So you're looking for healthy fear?
Yeah, I think so. I would be concerned somebody said that they don't have any fear at all. My personal opinion is somebody is at that level. They may not take safety of others into account, or their own safety into account. I have my limit, my threshold, and there were times that I felt it was too dangerous for me to continue, and I didn't.
What was that circumstance?
Cerro Plano was one.
And what is?
That was in Chile, and actually I sustained an injury. And I thought that it wasn't so severe, but I knew that it would be enough to be maybe dangerous. So I decided not to continue. The team made the push to the summit. I could see the summit, but I didn't, because I knew that my body has its limits, and I want to be able to go back home, and I can come back another time.
I see. So you have sustained injuries.
Yes.
Can you tell us?
Yeah, so I had fractures on my ankle. I had frostbite. I lost a little bit of my toes, and I have lost countless toenails. Yeah.
Wow. How long did it take you to recover from the toes? Or?
Yes, I ended up having a small surgery to remove the frostbite.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Silly question, but before guides take teams up, is there any kind of questioning or questionnaire that people fill out so you have an idea of what somebody's...
What are they up to, right?
Yeah, what are their...
So it depends on the guide or the company that you're hiring, but I highly recommend, if you're looking to hiring a guide or a company, check their certifications, check their track record, right? How is it? Do they have a lot of accidents, injuries, And I always ask the guide or whoever is leading that expedition, what will be a good way of measuring my fitness? The fitness that I do for Mount Rainier is quite different than the fitness training that I'm doing now for the specific mountains I want to climb in a couple of weeks. And for example, for Mount Rainier, remember, I think it was Mailbox Peak. I think if you could climb Mailbox Peak with 10% of your weight on your backpack in less than 2 hours, if I'm not mistaken, you were ready to climb Mount Rainier. It doesn't mean you will be up at the summit, but physically you're ready to climb Mount Rainier.
Okay.
So I always ask the guide, what would be a good measure to see if I'm up for the challenge, right? I don't want to get there and see that I'm huffing and puffing and can barely walk.
Okay. So some of these benchmarks, what is the Mountaineering Association that you're all affiliated with? Is it?
I'm no longer affiliated, but in Seattle they have Mountaineers. That's where I took my classes. And that's where I met my personal trainer who was teaching at the time.
Okay. So I have a list at the end of the show. If anyone's interested, they can see some of the accreditations that some of these are, the guide should have these 2 accreditations, I think, right? And then a list of other aspects. I don't remember exactly what those were, but I don't know if you do. But
yeah, so there is the national and the international accreditation, and you mentioned you have that listed. Yeah. Do your homework too. See the track record, how many expeditions they do. Some of them have bios of the guides, just to have an idea how much experience they have, how long they have been doing this. And I think then if you do decide to go with the company, see if you can talk to the guide. What does the guide has to say? I always like when the guides ask, what is your fitness level? And when they're specific, it's not just, are you fit? And then just say, sure. And you can barely get out of the couch. I like when they're more specific. Can you run for for 10 miles or whatever is the case? Can you, climb 10 feet, or can you carry on with a heavy backpack? So I like when they're specific, because that shows that they want to have people who have the base fitness. Or are you familiar using the equipment? So this guide that I'm gonna be doing, he was very specific on how much knowledge I have to have. He even had the list of mountains that I should have experienced with. Luckily I do, before attempting those expeditions that I want to do. So he was very thorough, like, you should have climbed these mountains, you should have knowledge of this and that, how many times did you use the equipment, all of that. So that gave me confidence, because as you know, anywhere else, if you pay, people will take you, right?
Right.
But you want to make sure that it's someone who is going to make sure that you get there safely. You want to be able to come back home.
Yeah. So would you ever be interested yourself in being
Yes.
a guide? You would?
Yes, I would.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Fascinating. So how long of a period would that be to take courses?
Yeah, I don't know. It really depends on how much time I have. I do mountaineering as a hobby, so it's a little bit different.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Fascinating. So there was a lovely thing that you said when we chatted a while back, and you said, before I ascend and descend, I thank the mountain.
Yeah.
That was the most beautiful sentiments I can imagine.
Yeah, and I do that not only when I'm mountaineering, when I'm hiking, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm entering the mountain territory or the park territory, so I always, whoever's with me, or if I'm alone, I always say a prayer asking for safe passage from me or whoever's with me, and that everything goes well. And on the way back, if I'm able, as soon as I'm done, I say thank you for allowing me to experience this. And it does, I think that's because I see the mountain, I think it's just like the indigenous and the Buddhist, right?
Yes.
It's a spirit, and for me, I was able to experience the mountain and be able to come back and share, like, with all of you today.
Yeah.
I think that's a blessing. So I thank the mountain or the park, wherever I am.
That's so wonderful.
Yeah.
So this mountaineering experience, has it changed you as a person? How has it affected you? I mean, you can't be doing this without some kind of transformation. I'm just wondering what that is.
I can handle stress better.
Really?
Yeah. And the other thing is, life throws you curveballs, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes I get upset, but I notice that I'm able to get over it faster. So I don't know, it's because I had experienced the worst and I was able to overcome that. So I think I always go back to, well, I was able to do this, why can't I do the simple thing? So I think I go back and forth between that thinking.
Fascinating. This is very, very interesting. So Hannah, it's such an adrenaline rush what you do.
Yes.
Does it spill over into your daily life? Are you living life day by day more intensively because of...
I think I'm more grateful for what I have. I have seen people in the team that I was going to climb pass away. And I had a good colleague in Seattle who unfortunately passed away. She died in an avalanche.
Oh my goodness.
So I think that, as if she was a good friend and everything, but I think it makes you grateful. You woke up, you're breathing, you have a roof. It may not be the ideal roof, you may want to be on a penthouse, but so I think I start to appreciate the small things, because I don't know, maybe tomorrow I'm going to the store and a car runs over me. You don't know.
Yeah.
So I think I try, and I'm not as good as I should, but I try to be grateful every morning, at least spend 10 minutes if I can, of be thankful I'm breathing, I'm healthy. You know, I have a family that loves me. I have money to buy food. So many people don't even have that. So I try, I think I appreciate the small things. So I don't have to have a fancy lobster meal to be grateful. I'm grateful I have my sandwich in the morning, my eggs.
Right. So, at one point you said to me, I was thinking about some of your other mountain ranges that you're interested in, like Colorado or Switzerland, and then you said about Kilimanjaro, and there was no interest. So
No.
what is that about?
So for me, I think the beauty of climbing a mountain is going that extra edge, which is the technical side of it. Kilimanjaro, yes, it's a high mountain, you know, you deal with altitude, but there's no use of technical equipment. So for me, I don't see the joy out of it. I like the challenge.
You want to put that mental resilience to
Yes,
work.
I like the challenge. I want to use the skills, you know, put them into practice. But Kilimanjaro is a great start if you want to feel how your body reacts to high altitude, like low oxygen. So that's a good one, and you don't have to worry about technical equipment, so how to use them, or avalanche, right, things like that.
Yeah. You know what really shocked me was the cost of doing Everest. When you're telling me it was base price $85,000 and can go up to $250,000, I thought, I was in shock. I can't believe that.
Unfortunately, mountaineering is not a cheap sport. I chose a very expensive hobby. Clearly I have expensive taste.
Oh my goodness.
Just the equipment itself. As you can see here, some of it is secondhand because I couldn't afford to buy the brand new.
What would that cost, this crampon?
I don't know anymore. I bought
okay.
7 years ago.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So some of it I buy from people who no longer wants to use, or they bought a brand new, don't want it, so I buy from them. The cost of expedition goes up depending on how technical, how difficult it is. Of course, it requires more skills, so the guide fee is going to be higher. If you have to stay longer, everything adds up, right? So it's not a cheap sport. So I do have to warn you, if you're watching this, if you do want to go into mountaineering, be prepared to save money for those expeditions.
Right. So there are permit fees.
Yes, that is correct. Permit fees, and like me, I have I have insurance in case of rescue of accident. So there is not your regular health insurance.
Okay.
So I have my regular health insurance, but that's an insurance in case a helicopter has to rescue me, right? Things like that, or the team in that specific park has to go up the mountain to get me.
I see.
So I have insurance for that, and that is not cheap either. And it's only for that specific time that you're climbing. There's the permit fees that can depend where you are, the mountain, the park, the country that you are climbing.
Right. So permits, guide fees,
insurance. I highly recommend insurance.
Your own insurance, Sherpa.
It depends. I only had a Sherpa in Cerro Plomo. Everything else I carried my own stuff because I was trying to stay within my budget.
So it seems in the Patagonia region that you can do some climbs for like around 10,000 or so, or? It
depends on the climb. And it depends on, do you want Sherpas? Do you want to have somebody set up the tent before you get there? Right. And I think that's why the Everest fee, when you mentioned, it can change so much. You can be more of a doer and do everything, or you can pay somebody to have the tent done, or already have a meal cooked for you, for example, things like that. So it depends on how much you're willing to spend. I go on the low end.
Interesting. So one thing I was thinking of, you're nearly in your 5th decade,
Mm-hmm.
having a birthday soon. How long do you think you'll be mountaineering?
That's a great question. I don't know. That's a very good question. It is a demanding sport, physically, mentally. I don't know, hopefully for another decade, I hope so.
Wow.
But I know if it gets to the point that my body cannot handle, or my knees, I'll definitely stop. Then I may stick to easier hikes or trails.
Okay, so I find it really interesting that you made sure that you haven't made your parents aware that you're a mountaineer.
Yes.
How do you keep that under wraps?
Well, after this show, I don't know anymore. So I don't want my parents to worry. I think as a parent, they always worry about your kids, right? It doesn't matter if they're 5, 20, 50, 80. I think it's in their nature to worry. So they don't know. I don't show most of the photos. I show the simple, basic photos. So they know I'm in the city, but they don't know what I'm doing. I try. My brother and my sister do know. They are my emergency in case something happens. And even they say I'm crazy. But I try to limit the exposure to my parents. I don't want them to worry more than in their age.
Yeah.
I think it would be too much stress for them.
So this particular expedition that you're doing, what mountain is it in Portuguese? What is it called?
You mean Spanish?
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah. So there are quite a few. I don't know yet because they're going through some forest fires.
Oh.
So I will know. I think it will be easy once I'm there to see how difficult it is. What is the quality air? It's hard to breathe when it's smoky plus lack of altitude. So I'll see.
Altitude and smoke.
Yeah. So I think I'll see once I'm there. I have a guide who is flexible too.
Oh, really?
So I can work with them depending on how it is. So I'm just hoping things improve by then.
Oh, I hope so too. So in Patagonia, there are countless mountains, correct? I mean, there's just, it's endless. Yeah.
So just to give an idea, I think I was reading somewhere that Patagonia is roughly 4 United Kingdoms. Right?
Really?
That gives an idea how big it is.
That little red box that we just saw.
I know. Yes, that little red box.
4 United Kingdoms.
Yes.
Okay. Really?
Yeah. So you have everything. You have mountains. They are great for those who love rock climbing. They have very beautiful mountains there. If you like snow or ice like I do, there's that too. If you want just to do trekking, backpacking, they have family-friendly hikes. You can do that too.
Interesting.
They have just about everything you can imagine.
Yeah. Fascinating. Let's see. Oh, I do want to share this photo. It's my favorite photo. It's a Pashto photo. I wonder if we could bring that up. I absolutely love that photo. With your little billy goat, your handmade billy goat. It's just precious. So you have a cap and a helmet on. Is that what's going on there? Okay.
Yeah, so I like to protect myself. The snow glare is pretty intense. I'm not very good in using sunblock.
Okay.
So I try to, as you can see, I have a glove, protect from the cold too, and I have the cap. And then I put the helmet on top.
Okay. That is a wonderful photo. So I just informed that we're running over, so we're going to have to close. But it was such an honor to have you here with us.
Well, thank you for having me.
Really wonderful. And you know, you've broken the glass ceiling doing this.
Thank you.
These expeditions. I find you fascinating, and that's why I brought you here. And I hope everyone enjoys and learns a lot from this.
I hope it inspires to at least explore, see what is out there.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
I want to hear from you after your next expedition.
Okay.
I want to hear how it is. Maybe we'll have you on virtually next time.
Perfect.
But yeah. All right then. So thank you again, Mumtaz, for taking the time to visit with all of us. All of us here at BCAT wish you and Posh too, of course, safe trekking and a deeply fulfilling expedition. It's only 2 weeks away. We would absolutely love to catch up with you again in the future, as I've said, and thanks so much for being a guest. And to you at home, I wanted to share Mumtaz's story with you because it fascinated me on so many levels. It's not only an inspiring story of this immense courage and strength, which was both mental and physical, but also one of extraordinary resilience and such bold, trailblazing ambition. So allow me, if you will, just to leave you with this. When you encounter a mentally challenging time, as we all do, right? No matter your age, emerge and press forward. Demand of yourself that you step out of your comfort zone. Lean into the unfamiliar and explore the world around you. Try something new. You never know where it might lead. And of course, in this case, there were new horizons, very literally new horizons. So opening yourself up in this way can spark growth and healing and a real change from within, and this expansiveness, inner expansiveness, if I might say. It could even transform how you perceive your life and how you choose to live it. And you are so worth that. So maybe now it's the time to take inventory of our own lives, something to reflect on, perhaps even turn it into a personal action plan. I invite all of us to think about that in the next days. Or how about maybe you can be the catalyst for someone else, like Mumtaz's friend was for her. Now, does that friend even realize that a simple invitation for a hike altered the entire trajectory of Mumtaz's life? So be mindful. Reach out. I encourage us all to reach out. Even in the busyness of life, you never know the impact that you have on people around you. So as we come to a close, if you're interested in exploring hiking and mountaineering yourself, I've included a variety of resources at the end of the show. There's tips, there's criteria for guides, finding a good guide, trusted websites to help you find information, accreditation information, and certified courses and clinics. So there you have it. Thank you for spending time with us. Until next time, make it a great day and spread kindness recklessly. So from now, for all of us here at BCAT and the Discourse Dive, I wish you all a great day. Cheers.